I had my disagreements with him, she said at last. Somehow you discovered those, but they were hardly kept secret. We differed, and we still do. She looked up at Erebus. But I always knew that he worked for the good of the species. He might have been wrong, perhaps, and arrogant and infuriating, but the threat was real. We had all lived through it. Your masters, however, or what you take to be your masters, they are the end. They are the closure of the story. I marvel that you could believe I would ever be tempted to serve them, because you already have. I acted to prevent an escalation, something terribly wrong, a twisting of what our ascension was supposed to be. I never acted to aid your cause. What you meant matters little. Erebus watched her carefully as he spoke. It is deeds that resonate. You paved the way for everything that followed. No. She turned back towards him. No, all choices were still to be made. He could have abandoned the project. That is what I thought he would do, but I underestimated his pig-headedness. Or he could have killed his creations, once I had shown him how dangerous they were. But something in him must still have had affection for them, even then. And your Primarchs, all of them, they were still free to choose. If they had not been dragged back into this awful crusade, pressed into action on his behalf like sullen children, what choices might they have made for themselves? They would have encountered my masters sooner or later. Erda laughed again, just as scornfully. You have no masters, you simpleton. There are no gods, not that deserve the name, just distorted reflections of our own dreams. You prostrate yourself before annihilation. You literally serve nothing. I apologize for nothing, Erda said. I reject him, and I reject you. You fuel one another. You need one another, and now you are locked so tight in your lover's embrace that I can barely even tell you apart. Erebus drew in a long, sour breath. I had genuinely hoped for more, he said darkly, activating his scepter's harmonics. I had hoped for some awareness of the stakes at least, some indication that you realized what you had done. Erda looked witheringly at the weapon. I acted as my conscience dictated. Then you were a fool, for conscience is no guide to anything. You cannot have thought, for a moment, that I would ever ally myself with such as you. Why not? You have already given us so much. His grip on the hilt tightened. But if you persist in ignorance, then I shall have to remove you from the game. There can be no second scattering, no further intervention into schemes that are now divinely ordained. As things stand, my lady, you are a throwback, a relic, but if you will not reform your outlook, then you are too dangerous to be allowed to endure. Erda smiled mirthlessly. So like all your kind, desires frustrated, and then quickly to the threats. She placed her hands together, raising them up as if in prayer. The golden glow within the room intensified, and a strange harmonic began to thrum across the earth floor. But you should not have come here alone, monster.